time capsule with a Freemason symbol on the granite
Today
seal,
we're going to be
conspiracy
reacting to
theorists argue that the
conspiracy
Freemasons
theories. This is a
have
very
ties
dumb
to the
idea. I never did
Illuminati
this, so don't
and a
blame me.
new world
Okay, let's
order.
watch it.
The new airport was dedicated in 1994, and rumors persist to this day about how the area isn't only a hub for passengers and travel, but for the Illuminati and other secret organizations. Number 18. Shakespeare didn't write all his plays.
Could it be true that the greatest writer in the English language was as fictional as his plays?
Did the most famous playwright of all time even exist? Well, yes, he did. But according to this theory, he didn't write his plays. At least, not all of them.
Okay,
Some people claim
Shakespeare
that William
did write his
Shakespeare was
plays.
just a pen name used by various different writers.
I want to thank my actors. It's a great acting. Has brought my words to life.
Then there are others who hold to the Oxfordian theory of Shakespeare authorship, which claims that the 17th Earl of Oxford, Edward de Vere, actually wrote the Bard's work.
Promise me you'll keep our secret safe, that you won't expose Shakespeare.
These alternative authorship theories have gained some traction due to the lack of biographical information about Shakespeare's life, but are generally disregarded by English historians. Number 15. HIV/AIDS created by the CIA. It's human nature to look for someone to blame in horrible situations. The HIV/AIDS crisis was just one of those moments in American history.
Some nurses feared this unknown, unnamed disease so much they wouldn't even go near someone with AIDS. The fear was pervasive.
Conspiracy theories persisted that the CIA invented the virus intentionally to attack homosexual and African American communities. Although this wasn't true, it does possess links to a real disinformation campaign propagated by the Soviet Union in the 1980s, known as Operation Infection. The intention was to implicate the United States as purveyors of biowarfare by claiming they'd developed HIV/AIDS in Fort Detrick, Maryland.
It's a crazy allegation printed in a small newspaper. No big deal, right? But fast forward just a couple of years and look what's happening. The story is spreading.
Today, Operation Infection is seen largely as a way to deflect similar accusations against the USSR over their own biowarfare operations. Number 14. Satanic Panic. In the 1980s, a moral panic swept through the US, spread by now discredited psychological practices and false accusations.
There were terrifying tales of secret satanic cults bent on tormenting and corrupting the young.
Many people became convinced that Satan worshippers were all around them, practicing ritual abuse on hapless victims. A lot of the hysteria came from conservative religious reactions to the popularity of heavy metal music and role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons. The panic led to numerous accusations of ritual abuse in daycare centers, culminating in the infamous McMartin preschool trial.
There's never been any proof that there was any kind of satanic ritual abuse or satanic cult activity in a daycare center.
When I first got involved in these cases, I'll be very honest with you, I tended to believe that this was going on. But eventually, the number of cases just kept growing.
Today, it lives on in new forms, such as the far-right QAnon movement, which targets celebrities and Democrats instead.
Well, I don't know much about the movement other than I understand they like me very much.
Number 13. James Earl Ray was framed. The death of civil rights activist Martin Luther King Jr. was a devastating loss that left many questions unanswered. On April 4th, 1968, he was assassinated in a Memphis motel, purportedly by James Earl Ray. However, Ray's motivations have always remained hazy.
Now, there are mixed reports about his motivations. James Earl Ray was certainly a super racist, but it looks like greed may have also played a factor. Now, Ray was under the impression that he was going to be able to collect bounties from a cabal of rich Southerners for killing Dr. King.
This has led to theories that someone else was involved. For example, the FBI, who were running a smear campaign against King. Ray later recanted his confession, leading some to question whether he was even the shooter at all, including King's family. Given the number of enemies King had, we may never know the truth for sure.
Well, I don't know if there's any penalty for extraditing someone fraudulently or not, but I think
99 years
I can see their legal point with their story.
Number 12. Water fluoridation for mind control.
Guys, how do my teeth look? Pretty good? Okay, great. Fluoride in the water might be helping that, but it might also be doing other things.
Fluoride helps make human teeth stronger, but some people believe that the government is putting fluoride in drinking water for another reason, to sap away our mental strength and control the population.
The Telegraph points out a epidemiological study that was done there. They say fluoride in drinking water may trigger depression and weight gain.
In the 1940s, many conspiracy theorists became convinced that fluoride was part of a communist plot to take over America. Proponents have since claimed that the Nazis used fluoride to pacify people in concentration camps during World War II. While a minority of scientists do oppose water fluoridation, it isn't based on any of these wild claims, which lack any evidence.
Countries and states are going to continue being on board with fluoridation until someone finds damning evidence that they shouldn't be, which in 70 years, no one has yet found.
Number 11. Zionist occupation government conspiracy theory.
What even is Zionist?
The idea that a Jewish cabal runs the world goes all the way back to a fabricated document,
Wait,
the
Al Jazeera
Protocols
has
of the
fake
Elders
news.
of Zion,
Al Jazeera
which
makes
outlined
fake
a
news, you know
fake
that,
plan
right?
for global domination. It was a hoax, but anti-Semitism has kept the idea alive. The theory...
Alright, let's do our research first. So, what is Zionist? What is Zionist? What is my IP? Why would someone search that? What Zionism is a nationalist movement that emerged in the 19th century to expose support for establishment of a homeland for the Jewish people in Palestine. Here we go. In Palestine, a region roughly corresponding to the land of Israel in a Jewish tradition. Following the establishment of Israel, Zionism became an ideology that supports the development and protection of State of Israel. Zionism initially merged into Central and Eastern Europe as a national revival movement in the late 19th century. I ain't reading all that. Yeah, you guys. Okay,
thanks to
we're
the
back,
efforts of
guys.
the Aryan Nations, a white supremacist group from Idaho.
The hate first blossomed in 1974 when Richard Butler moved to Hayden and established the Aryan Nations World Headquarters. For decades, Butler shared his dream of a white-only homeland with recruits who came to his 20-acre compound.
It comes in many forms, from claiming that Jewish people run the entertainment industry to denying the horrors of World War II. It's a strange but tragically true glimpse into the darkest recesses of the human mind. Number 10. Advance warning of Pearl Harbor. The U.S. government has been the target of several conspiracy theories throughout its history, with one of the biggest revolving around Pearl Harbor.
FDR certainly did have a motivation to deliberately withhold vital intelligence from Pearl Harbor.
This theory suggests that Franklin D. Roosevelt knew about the planned Japanese attack in December 1941, but decided not to act because he needed an excuse to get the Americans into the Second World War.
To overcome this premeditated invasion, the American people in their righteous might will win through to absolute victory.
The theory gained some traction because the American public and Congress were overwhelmingly against joining the conflict at the time, but it has largely been dismissed by historians.
Everyone who worked on it at the time has said then and since that we simply were not far enough along to read any of these Japanese naval messages for intelligence.
Number 9. The Earth is flat.
Oh, yeah,
the world
everyone
is,
knows
of course,
this. Yeah,
round, something that even the ancient
We all know
Greeks
that
figured
it's
out.
round.
There's plenty of proof. Commercial airline flights, time zones,
okay, guys.
images from space, and so many more.
let me prove
However,
it
a
to you.
small but vocal minority of people...
Okay, guys, if you look very closely here, you cannot see the rest of the water, right? Yeah. And that's because it's curving because of the horizon. When the horizon meets when the horizon, if you guys don't know, I'll give you a quick lesson, is when the land and the sky meets. Yeah. So where you see those mountains above the ship, they're not really above, behind the ship. When that's meeting with the sky, that's the horizon. Yeah, that's when the water and land are touching exactly at that place. Yeah, exactly right there. Grab my toilet guy me. Wait, what? No. Okay, anyway, never mind that, guys. Bye.
spreading their ideas on social media platforms.
My reality, my senses tell me that the Earth is flat and stationary.
While the Flat Earth Society has flourished online, its first iteration was founded back in 1956 by Samuel Shenton, a sign writer who created his own cosmology, partly based on the Bible. Today, some proponents even argue that Australia doesn't exist. We guess Hugh Jackman really is one hell of an actor. Number 8, the stolen election. After Joe Biden won the 2020 U.S. election, Donald Trump and allies campaigned to overturn the results.
As everybody saw, we won by historic numbers, and the pollsters got it knowingly wrong. They got it knowingly wrong. We had polls that were so ridiculous, and everybody knew it at the time.
Alleging widespread fraud, Trump claimed that Biden was staging a coup. His legal team filed dozens of lawsuits, which were dismissed, and claimed that voting machines had been rigged, an accusation contradicted by hand recounts. Some of Trump's allies even recommended that he suspend the Constitution and declare martial law. QAnon fueled the fires, arguing that the deep state was backing Biden, but that Trump would be re-inaugurated in March 2021.
The movement now leaped them from echo chambers of social media to headlines in the news.
The campaign culminated in the 2021 United States Capitol attack, when rioters stormed the Capitol, leaving 5 dead. It was a dark lesson in how deadly disinformation can be. Number 7, Adolf Hitler escaped to Argentina.
It became pretty obvious that the death in the bunker was nothing but, well, fiction. Or maybe somebody died in the bunker, but it wasn't Adolf Hitler.
A number of conspiracy theories are attached to famous figures in history, and Adolf Hitler is no different. With the Allies closing in and the war all but over, Hitler took his own life in his bunker with his wife Eva Braun. British authors Simon Dunstan and Gerard Williams have a different theory about Hitler's end, however. They believe that the Fuhrer didn't actually kill himself, but rather escaped to Argentina with Eva, and body doubles were shot instead.
Perché era un recién neolaureado en historia de investigar bonariamente la muerte de.
According to their book, Grey Wolf, The Escape of Adolf Hitler, the married couple settled down and had 2 daughters in South America before dying in 1962.
This was during 1947.
Estuvo Hitler ahí, sí. Estuvo 3 días. Eso yo sí. Eso yo porque mismo los choferes y todo. Padre Mónica también el este. Pero nosotros tenemos que callarlo la boca.
This idea has been widely dismissed by historians, who claim that the theory has no substance.
We got to the age of information where the truth should be out there, so let's get it out. That's what we're trying to do.
Number 6, Roswell and Area 51. Many of us are anxious for more information about life beyond the stars, and some conspiracy theories think we can find answers in the Roswell incident and U.S. Air Force Base Area 51. They believe that an actual flying saucer crash-landed in Roswell, New Mexico back in 1947, and not a surveillance balloon as the U.S. Army claims.
Right away, rumors spread that alien bodies had been found in the spacecraft.
Well, Roswell is really the ground zero of the UFO phenomenon.
There's also a widespread belief that Area 51 holds the remains of the crashed aliens as well as alien tech. The theory
Ground Zero is not only a song, guys. Ground Zero, I'll explain it to you guys in another video. But for now, I'll give you a quick summary. Ground Zero, if you guys know about the 9/11 attack, you'll probably do. If you don't know it, you're dumb. You can watch you should watch my other video about it. So Ground Zero.
It's not even here yet.
I'm gonna make it anyway. So Ground Zero is the Twin Towers, where the 9/11 attacks were, when Osama bin Laden attacked the towers. So yeah, that's it. That's
alright.
It's gotten traction in part thanks to the fact that Area 51 is a highly classified Air Force facility, with the testing, training, and development that occurs inside kept secret from the public.
50 years after the incident, the Air Force released a report admitting that the wreckage was part of a secret system of atomic espionage. But for real believers, this is just another cover-up.
Number 5. World leaders are lizard people, also known as reptilians.
In simple terms, there is a predator race which take a reptilian form. They're feeding off humanity. They've turned humanity into a slave race.
Who runs the world? Lizards. At least according to English former footballer and sports broadcaster David Icke. After he visited a psychic, he decided that he was the son of the Godhead, predicted natural disasters that never happened, dove headfirst into anti-Semitic conspiracies, and most famously, proclaimed that the world was being run by shape-shifting lizards.
I have talked to hundreds and hundreds of people all over the world. I've been to more than 40 countries researching this.
You have a lot of conspiracy
who have told me the same basic recurring story of seeing people, often in positions of power, but not always, change from a human into a reptilian form and then go back again. Sometimes it's for a few seconds.
Many of these reptiles are supposedly people in positions of power, including the entire royal family. They are 7 to 12 feet tall and come from a different planet. Number 4. Global warming is a hoax.
It's a statistical anomaly. It's meaningless, and they actually admit this in previous NASA press releases, but they're not announcing that today.
A scientific consensus around climate change began to form back in the 1980s, in part thanks to discoveries by researchers working for fossil fuel companies. Since then, fossil fuel companies have spent billions of dollars on climate-related lobbying and have been accused by activists of manufacturing doubt about scientific research.
The problem is this thin layer of atmosphere is being
just
thickened
tell them
by
to
all
stop,
of the
Ziev. They're destroying our
pollution
planet.
that's being put up there.
Today, the scientific consensus that human activities are warming the climate is greater than 99%, but that hasn't stopped conspiracy theorists from arguing that it's all a trick, one that involves basically all the world's climate scientists playing along.
According to climate change skeptic Myra Nadal, global warming is a hoax created by the European Union to damage the U.S. economy.
The theory takes various forms, with some arguing that it's a liberal plot to introduce